The main thing that I don't like about China is people taking pictures of you randomly without asking. Hi everyone, my name is Fatim Sinka and I come from Burkina Faso. I am currently studying in China. I am studying for my bachelor's as a scholarship student. The main reason I chose to come to China was out of curiosity. So first of all, when I was in 12th grade and I was preparing for my 12th grade exam, I started to develop an interest in Asia, especially in South Korea. I got into the K-drama mood and K-pop phenomenon. And as I was getting to know more about South Korea, I started to learn more about Asia too. And just like that, I had this opportunity to apply for a scholarship to come to study in China, and I just took it. Well, the main challenges I faced when I first arrived in China were related to the language gap and the food. The language gap because as I landed in China, I had no knowledge at all of the Mandarin language. I didn't know how to speak the language. I didn't even know how to simply say hi. It was really difficult to interact with Chinese citizens because they tend to not really speak English. So you have to learn the sign languages sometimes, just saying. And the challenge also regarding the food was because Chinese food tends to be very, very, very spicy. The most important things I have learned during my stay in China were mostly that hard work, dedication, and discipline always pays off, especially as a student in a foreign country. Especially in my situation where I had to study in Chinese after only learning Mandarin for 1 year. It was the key to success in that case was to be very dedicated, hardworking, and disciplined in order to navigate the student life. I studied in China for a total of 5 years, and the first year was mostly around studying the language, so learning Mandarin. And then the last 4 years have been centered around my major, which is financial engineering, that I had to study in Mandarin. The main thing that I don't like about China is people taking pictures of you randomly without asking. And just 2 weeks ago, I was in the bus coming back to my university, and then there was a woman sitting in front of me, and she was just taking pictures of me without asking. I felt rather uncomfortable in that situation. So that would be the main thing I don't like about China. My graduation thesis topic was the impact of external debt on the economic growth of Burkina Faso for the period going from 1990 to 2019. And mostly in my thesis, I was talking about the economic growth situation of Burkina Faso during that period and the external debt situation of Burkina Faso during that period. And in order to do my work, I had to do a data analysis, and the data analysis was done mostly using an econometric model called ARDL model. ARDL stands for autoregressive distributed lag. So that model is an econometric model that is used to analyze the co-integration relationship between the variables that are used in the data analysis. And for my data analysis, I used variables like gross domestic product, and gross domestic product was the dependent variable. And then for my independent variables, I had external debt as a percentage of GNE. I had gross domestic product per habitant, and I also had domestic credit to the private sector. And through my data analysis, I found that external debt has a negative impact on the economic growth of Burkina Faso. Okay, so I don't really have many local friends. I actually only have one local friend that I made 2 months ago during a conference that I attended. And if I have an advice on how to make local friends, it's to actually go out and explore. Whether you're living in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, just go out and explore and do an effort to actually learn Mandarin, because that's going to help you socialize with Chinese citizens. Actually, I haven't been in a romantic relationship with a Chinese person. No, never.
Why?
Well, I guess I didn't have that close relationship with Chinese citizens, unfortunately, because if you have to sum up the number of years I made in China, that will come to actually 2 years, because I arrived in China in 2018, in October more precisely, and I left in January 2020 to come back 2 years later in November 2022. So I didn't really have the opportunity to socialize with Chinese citizens, let alone have a romantic relationship with a Chinese citizen. Well, my plan after graduation, that's interesting. Well, for now, I applied for graduate school. I applied for a scholarship in China, actually, and I am still waiting for an answer, finger crossed. But no, it will work. It will work. It will work. Well, rather than a plan, I would say what I have for my country is a dream. I dream that Burkina Faso will become a super country in the world. I dream that every citizen of Burkina Faso, whether living in Burkina Faso or living abroad, will come together and contribute to the economic development, social development, and every aspect that can be developed in our country. And I also believe that in order to have a stable economy, we have to invest more in the private sector, also in the banking industry, because the economic stability of a country relies significantly on its financial system. So developing the banking sector and investing more in the private sector will contribute to the economic development of Burkina Faso. Also, what I dream of the most is the development and improvement of our medical system, especially in the way we take care of disabled people, especially disabled children. Well, the main difference that I've noticed between the different countries I've lived in and China is in how everything is simply so convenient in China. In Chinese, we say 方便, because simply, how do I put it? It's easy. Everything is simply easy when it comes to ordering things online, going shopping, the food, transportation, and especially security. So when I talk about conveniency, I talk about how China has really improved in terms of technology, because in regards to shopping, for example, we have this app called Pinduoduo or Taobao, where shopping is simply easy. You have to be very careful when you go on these apps, because it's simply so easy to order things. And if you're not careful, you might lose your money, just saying. And yeah, in regards to transportation, especially staying in Beihang, transportation is super easy, because metro stations are really not far from my campus. So moving around Beijing has been rather easy. Also, ordering a taxi is very easy. It's just very expensive. And yeah, I was also talking about security, how I feel safe in China. I can simply go around the city whenever I want, no matter the time, and I won't feel unsafe. I won't feel in danger, and I really love that about China. Well, when it comes to studying abroad, my advice would be, before actually going in the country where you will study, you have to do a lot of research on the country where you're going. Research around how to approach people, research on where is safe and where is not, which part of the country is safe, which part of the country is not, which part of the city you're going is safe, or which one is not. Another advice that I have for someone going to study abroad would be to be very open-minded and not be scared. Always ready to ask whenever there is a problem, whenever there is something you don't understand. Learn to get out of your comfort zone, and because I know that going abroad is not easy, and when we go abroad we tend, especially in China, you would want to stay with your country mates because you feel closer, because it hits more back to home. But I would say once you arrive in a country, in a foreign country, learn to have a diversified network, because for example, if you come to China, you have access to people coming from multiple countries. I mean, you come to China, you have people from Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, Chad, America, France, Switzerland, you name it. So learn to just get closer to people, be open-minded when you do that, and it will be easier to learn from others, because there's a saying that once you're home, you rely on your family, but once you're out of home, when you're outside, you rely on your friends. It's important to make friends and meaningful relationships, to have meaningful relationships. Well, to end this video, I would like to express my gratitude for life. I would like to thank God for everything I have, for everything I was able to achieve up till now. And I want to stress that it's very important to put God first in everything that you do, especially coming abroad. I won't stress how, I can't even begin to explain how helpful it has been for me to be always praying and being grateful to God and putting God first. So remember that putting God first in everything is the most important. And I would also like to thank my parents for their unconditional love and support, and thank to my friends and to everyone that has made my experience of life fantastic, amazing, you name it. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and don't forget to subscribe to ElsonXcode. Thank you for watching.